both sides vowing to take each other out. Sets were produced writers in the 80s. The Rolling 60s had a lot of names ringing in the early 80s. They had people like Snoop, Poochie, Lil Fee, Key Rock, Jay Stone, Mumbles, Big U, and Peedie Wacc himself, just to name a few. A-Tray Gangsters had young dudes like Joker, Trey Stone, Trey Ball, Diamond, Crazy D, 8 Ball, Little Monster, and Mustard Cody, among many more frontlining. Peedie Wacc was born Rodney Glaze in the mid-60s, around 65. Peedie Wacc by the late 70s was already invested in his community like many others, and by invested, I mean willing to do it all for his homies in his hood. 1980, there was over 20 shootings between the A-Trays and the Rolling 60s. This left several people on both sides losing their lives. You gotta realize, it was still early in the game. Just a few years prior, having hands and kicking ass was the main defense against the enemies. So with
Salute. We back with another one. Listen, y'all. This is what we doing today. We getting into Luce Cannon father snitched on Big U, but then he flipped his story when I heard allegedly he got kidnapped or adult napped, because he was a grown-ass man when he got adult napped. And Luce Cannon and his brother Jermaine, y'all stop me when I'm wrong, Jermaine. Luce Cannon and his brother Jermaine was little kids, little twins at the time. And they said, listen to me, man, if you don't change that story, son, we gonna do something to them little twins and everybody else, man. That's what the hell we gonna do. That's allegedly what had happened. So then George Williams, who is Luce Cannon's father, Tremaine Williams, changed it to Eddie Boy's brother, Eric Dix, and also Peedie Wacc in the 1986 Unaliving that happened in the Ross. It's called the Ross Unalivings, okay? You got to go into this. We are going to go into this story, so salute to everybody. Okay? Salute to everybody. I want everybody dropping a like. Everybody dropping a like. All right? Cool. We are going to get into this story. We're going to get into a breakdown of what happened in this situation. I will be going through the paperwork of this paperwork right here since 1986. When you see this case right here, when I read this case to you and start showing you what's going on in this case, you're going to be like, nah, son, it's crazy. Because allegedly, Luce Cannon Pops snitched on Big U and tied Big U into that. That's what they say, son. That's what they say. That's what they say. So salute to everybody. Let's get into a little bit more of this so you can understand who Peedie Wacc is and who Peedie Wacc was, right, at this time, so we can understand what had happened with them. And then I'm going to go into further breakdowns, and I'm going to go into some reading as well. So this is all we're going to do. Salute to everybody. You
already know. The 80s, the war intensified. The A-Trays had lost early people like Twinkie, Roach, Tit Tat, Little Frog, and Opie. In the 60s, lost people like Baby O, Kid, Kimbone, DC, and Tyrone, just to name a few from both sides. During this time, Peedie Wacc was becoming a well-known name. He was popular and carried himself like a real G. The 60s was a well-known set, known for going to events like skating rinks, concerts, and parties, and known for turning them up, meaning people was going to get shot or they was going to get socked up, and Peedie Wacc was always in the mix with everything involving the 60s. To the bigger homies, his age range, and younger, he was well respected and known to be on go for his set. Peedie Wacc's name became so big, he would be on the A-Tray Gangsters and many other rival gangs' top priority list to get rid of if they could catch him. But it wouldn't be that easy with Peedie Wacc. Mustard Cody even would classify him as an elite shooter. Mustard would even say Peedie Wacc wanted to take his life, just like he wanted to take his. Mustard Cody would say the police was giving them drops on the Rolling 60s and their locations. They would go shooting at them for days and still could never catch up to Peedie Wacc.
Hold up. Salute to everybody. Because when I start bringing these paperworks on the screen and it shows that George Williams was snitching, telling in the situation, he's the one that's talking about the 38 special, the 38 caliber, whatever the case may be, that Peedie allegedly had. Eric Dix was a young boy at the time. He's probably like 18. It don't matter if they were cripping and ripping. He was a young boy at the time, son. They saying that basically he wasn't even about that like that. You know what I mean? Big Bro was active, one of the reputable people at the time, Eddie Boy, whoever the case may be. You know what I mean? I can show you an audio right now, Monster Cody talking about Eddie Boy. You know what I mean? Talking about Eddie Boy and Lil Fee. Let's get into that. I don't care who you think people is now, today. I don't care. But I listen to Monster Cody right now talk about Eddie Boy and Lil Fee. And I know Lil Fee wasn't no fucking problem. I know he was he was a problem, nigga. So we not gonna, you know what I mean? Come on. So we have to get this breaking down. So then I also have a paper. I gotta let it play a little bit more just to show y'all what's going on. Okay? Listen to me. you going to see this page right here. That show, I'm going to bring it up, zoom it. I'm going to zoom it all. You can zoom it for yourself right now. When you go into this, you're going to see the payments that George Williams was taking. Payments by the people. Luce Cannon father was getting paid by these people. This is a payment plan sheet right now. Payment plan right there, bro. That's what Luce Cannon Pops was up to, bro. They said he flipped the switch, act like he was ratting and rolling on you, but then flipped his story to Eric Dix. And also, Peedie Wacc got ran up in the situation. Dix got lives and all of that, right? But Peedie ended up getting like a 15 out the situation. I know that's led to some speculation to say, why is it that you got like 15 or something years or so, and Eric got rocked? And Eric was a young boy at the time, and you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know. But we do know that Peedie Wacc took a plea deal. You know what I'm saying? Do we understand the specificities of the plea deal? I don't know, but as much as I'm going through all this paperwork, we'll try to figure out what we can. So salute to everybody. Let's play a little bit more so y'all understand about Peedie Wacc. Then we're going to get into some reading so you can understand what happened in the Ross double murders and what happened. They knocked on the door, boom, blew him away, blew his mom's away and all that. Allegedly, this is what happened. It was supposed to be an 8-tray crip. Supposed to be from the other side, 8-tray. He was supposed to be involved. He was 15 at the time, the kid. He was supposed to be involved with unaliving or somebody, Burnsy or something like that, whatever the case may be. And then they ran back down on him allegedly and put it. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened. So I just got to put y'all on game because this is how we go through breaking down these whole stories. Okay, cool. I'm not going to just follow the stories about what y'all keep talking about. Big U, everybody. No. We're going to go to the back in the day, 1986, Big U. What happened to that, Big U? Okay, cool.
For all the shooting and bodies being dropped on both sides, both gangs lost reputable members to the grave and to the pen. During this time, during the mid-'80s, the law started to get stricter, and tons of gang members started getting life sentences. 60s took a big loss with losing a member named Mumbles. Mumbles was a highly respected shooter and hustler. The shooting was blamed on Joker from 8-Tray Gangsta, who Monster Cody mentions in his book countless of times, mentioning him being a shooter and an active member of the 8-Tray Gangsters. Mumbles lost his life in 1985 outside of a store on Florence. Joker accounted as him and Mumbles bumped heads inside the store, so Joker said he went outside the store to go to his car and get a strap. He walked back inside the store and shot Mumbles 5 times, taking his life. Just 4 days later, in response, the 60s got the drop and tried to catch Joker, but things went left. Joker and his family lived on West 51st Street. Joker grew up in a 2-parent home, and actually his dad was a preacher. But Joker was the opposite of that. He wasn't no preacher's son. He was with the business.
He was with the business, man. He was with the business, but I do want to read a little bit about the situation. Let's get into this because we could get back to the audio. We could get back to the visuals. You know that. Salute to everybody. I want everybody dropping a like if you're here. All right? Everybody dropping a like if you're here. Have you heard that Luce Cannon Pops was a snitch? Yes or no? I want y'all write in the chat. I'm about to do a poll right now soon. All right? What do you feel about the Brick Baby Luce Cannon and all that? Do you feel somebody's snitching in this situation already? If you know, then let me know in the chat what you're thinking. All right? Everybody get in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Salute to everybody here. Drop where y'all from in the chats. All of that. All right? Get active. Do not be a person that watch like a chat GPT AI robot today. Get active, man. Anytime I'm around, any chats, anywhere I'm at, I'll make my presence felt because I'm alive and I'm here. I ain't no fucking... I'm here, nigga. Everywhere I'm at, I'm going to make my presence known and felt. Maybe you're not like me, but I'm like that. Listen, though. A 21-year-old gang member was found guilty Tuesday of first-degree murder in what authorities have characterized as the revenge killings of a South Central Los Angeles minister's wife and her teenage son. Eric Dix, who was convicted by Los Angeles Superior Court jury after a week of deliberations, could be sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole, the district attorney office said. Prosecutors said Bessie Mae Ross, 54, and her son David, 15, an aspiring actor, were shot to death in September 1985 when Dix, a co-defendant, and another man went to their West 51st Street home seeking revenge against David's brother, Tommy. The deputy district attorney, David S. Milton, said that the gunmen believed that Tommy Ross was involved in the death of Stanford Bursey, 24, who had been unalived 4 days earlier. Tommy Ross, who was not home when his mother and brother were unalived, is waiting trial in the Bursey unaliving, Milton said. Bessie Ross's husband, you know, that was a lot to him. He was in jail at this time when this happened to his mom and his brother. Jesus Lord. Bessie Ross' husband, Robert, a retired minister, was attending church at the time of the slayings. A third son, Lehman, hid in a closet in the home. The prosecutor said that he did not seek the death penalty against Dix because he was only 18 at the time of the unalivance, and he had no prior convictions, and the ballistic evidence against him was inconclusive. But Milton said that he will seek the gas chamber for co-defendant Rodney Charles Glaze. He said he's going to seek the gas chamber for him. Okay, and it was supposed to be said allegedly that Rodney Glaze is Peedie. It's supposed to be said because this is what Luce Cannon father said. Luce Cannon father pointed him out with the straps. Said that he had the strap to 38. Boom. Because no one could really say that Eric Dix possessed a weapon, bro. Okay? Somebody said that a person named Maurice, I think Maurice Connors or something, said they seen him, I think, there at the location or on scene. But nobody can compare this 38 to him. You know what I'm saying? But then here comes who? Who? Good old George, huh? Good old Luce Cannon father comes along. And let me read you what he says. All right, hold up. Let me just read you a little bit what he says, right? So look. It says, all right. Okay, no, his name is Maurice Cornett. Maurice Cornett is the person's name. That he identified him originally through a phone. Okay, the physical evidence would be that the 30-30 caliber live ammunition and the 30-30 caliber expended casings that were found in and around the 1351 West 51st Street apartment or a home. Do you have any witnesses that saw him in possession of a 30-30 caliber? They're talking about Eric Dix. He said that would be Mr. Maurice Cornett, that he identified him originally through a phono lineup. Yes. Okay. So he did not identify a 30-30 caliber weapon, though, did he? He says no. Okay. Do you have any witnesses that put Mr. Dix in possession of a 30-30 caliber weapon? He says, yeah, we have Mr. George Williams cripping and snitching at the same damn time. That's foul, bro. How are we going to be ganging and sanging? Cripping and snitching. Oh, my God, bro. Lord Jesus. Look what they said. They highlight this shit in yellow. They said, we have Mr. George Williams giving us information that Eric Dix admitted that he had the rifle. That was 3 months after the crime. Is that correct? He said, yes. Other than that, do you have anything else? He says, then they say, no. He says, I didn't personally find Maurice Cornett, so you weren't involved in that? No. Who was? I believe it was Detective Johnson and, damn, I think these niggas was grimy, these cops. Detective Lionel Roberts. I'm telling you, bro. These niggas, bro. I mean, Eric was like 18 at the time, bro. Not to say an 18-year-old can't catch an unaliving, bro. But I'm just saying, son, I heard he wasn't even on it like that. This is what I heard, son. I heard it, and I heard that from Eddie Boy. Eddie Boy should know his own brother. Nigga, that's his brother, nigga. He's like, yo, my brother wasn't even like that. Nigga was playing football. He was running around being a kid. He was playing football, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even know if the brother was even there. That's the sad one. I don't even know if Eric was even there. Tell you the truth. Tell you the truth. All right, cool. A third gang member, Benjamin Anthony Jones, was arrested a year later, but he was released for insufficient evidences. Milton said that the principal witness against Dix during the 10-week trial were a friend in whom the defendant had confided and eyewitness who had been using the public telephone 30 yards from the Ross house. Okay, so an eyewitness who was using the telephone 30 yards from the house, and then a friend of whom the defendant had confided. And come on, son, who is that? That's George Williams, allegedly. Because at first they were saying like George didn't finger him. George was actually looking like he was tying it to Big Hugh, son, which is crazy. Then I heard some people ran down on him and adult napped his ass and said, hey, yo, you see them twins you got over there in that crib? And whoever else? Yeah. We gonna come and have to do something and all that. You better start switching stories, homie. You better start hurrying up too. Facts. And I heard he switched it. This is what they saying. That's what I mean. That's what Eddie Boy says as well. You know what I mean? He says he switched it. Another friend of the defendant who testified against him in the preliminary hearing was shot 3 times last March 24th, one day before Dick's trial was supposed to start. Damn, look at this, man. A dude that testified against him in the preliminary hearing was shot 3 times the day before Dick's trial was supposed to start. Milton said the witness survived, but later recanted his statements. The prosecutor said, yeah, nigga, take your mind, bro. Niggas went and ran down on this nigga ass. Crazy. It's crazy, bro. know what I mean? Boom. Okay, challenges under similarly denying his petition to be resentenced. I did see other things that when I was looking up the cases of this brother, you know, I did see he was in Calipatria prison and different. You know, I never heard of Calipatria prison, so you know I'm doing my research, right? Yeah, you know, what I mean, he was in Calipatria prison. He had some different things that was going on in there too as well. But Dix was convicted by a jury in 1987 of 2 counts of first-degree unaliving. The jury found him personally used a rifle and committed more than one unaliving. And the court affirmed that the judgment, the People versus Dix, on February 4th, 1993. We wrote that Dix and 2 fellow gang members, all armed, went to the home of a rival gangster on September 11th, 1985. They knocked on the door, opened fire on a youngster who answered, then entered the home and repeatedly shot the boy's mom. The child was killed by the .38 caliber weapon fired by Dix's co-defendant. Dix's 30 caliber rifle could have caused one of the mother's fatal wounds. The probation report shows that Dix was 18 years old at the time of the unalivers. In 2021, Dix petitioned to be resentenced. The trial court summarily denied his petition without appointing counsel, citing our 1993 opinion that the court found Dix was the actual unaliver and was convicted of the unaliving on a theory of being the direct perpetrator and not on a theory of felony murder. Or, see, this is just on a theory of him being a perpetrator. This is crazy. A theory of natural and probable consequences. We appointed counsel to represent Dix in his appeal. After examining the record, counsel filed an opening brief raising no issues. We advised Dix that he could personally submit any contentions or issues that he wished to raise on appeal. He did not submit a supplemental brief. We are unable to conduct a proper review because of the Superior Court lost the resentencing petition, and through no fault of appellant, absent a complete record, we do not know if Dix's 2 petitions was facially compliant or whether he requested the appointment of counsel. Okay, so we read this, we read that, right? Boom. Let's just make sure the fatal wounds. Boom, 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 boom. Went through the gang members. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, this is Eric Dix's own words himself. Okay, salute to Eric Dix on his own words. Okay, cool. We also gonna get back to Peedie Wacc story because we gotta understand Peedie Wacc. You know what I mean? Niggas is G's. These niggas been outside for a long time, bro. All these niggas. Straight, son. You know what I mean? Some niggas turned snitch and all that. But niggas was gangsters at one point, man. It's fucked up that some of these niggas like George Williams and these niggas turned snitches, bro. Niggas came from the first or the second line of real gangsters, bro. Real crippin'. You know what I mean, son? Damn, son. Y'all niggas is telling. It's nasty, bro. It's nasty. My name is Eric Dix. I'm a 44-year-old African-American who was tried and wrongfully convicted for a 1985 gang-related double murder. I am currently incarcerated in California Department of Corrections and have been for the last 25 years. I in no way had anything to do with this horrible crime that I was convicted of, and I am 100% innocent. I feel I was targeted for this case because of my gang affiliation, even though I had just moved into the neighborhood and had recently became a gang member, all within a year's time. The head of the Los Angeles District's Attorney's Office turned down this case due to the lack of evidence to incriminate any particular suspects. The case was eventually picked up by an overzealous DA, David Milton, who had a political ambitions and saw this as an opportunity to help propel him further in his career. David Milton is now a Superior Court judge. I can understand that, Eric. I can understand that. In this case against me, there are 0 physical evidences, as I just read to you. There are 3 prosecutor witnesses who were either coerced, bribed, or received some sort of compensation for their testimony. That's it. I had a co-defendant in this case, but we had separate trials. It's crazy. Why would they have? That's nuts. Him and Peedie had separate trials. That's crazy. I elected to go to trial before my co-defendant because I knew that I was 100% innocent and knew that I couldn't be found guilty of a crime that I did not commit. So, okay, that makes sense. Because, you know what I mean, the people were tying the weapon back to Peedie, that Peedie had the .38 caliber, but Peedie only got 15 years or so. Peedie ended up coming out, getting free, and ended up getting locked up again now, and Peedie's in jail again now. But Peedie ended up busting case on this shit and came home, son, straight. And Eric is still in jail the whole time since 18, 19, 20. Yeah, I think he was convicted of this shit like in 20. Like he was like 20 or 21. About like 2 years later. Guilty of a crime, 100% in it. I knew I couldn't be found good. He says, to my surprise, I was found guilty and given special circumstances, life without parole. My co-defendant went to trial several years later, and had a hung jury. He was later offered a deal to enter a plea of no contest and received a 22-year sentence. I think he did 15 out of that deal. Oh, no, because he received 22 years, Peedie, actually. He received 15 years plus 7. That's what he did. He received a 15-year sentence plus 7. That's what happened. Okay, so this case that I was wrongfully convicted of was a gang retaliation unaliving on September 8, 1985. A member of the Rolling 60s, Stanford Bursey, also known as Mumbles, was unalived by a rival gang member, Tommy Ross, also known as Joker, from 8 Trade Gangsta Crips, on September 11, 1985. Several members of the Rolling 60s went to Tommy Ross's home and clipped his mom, Bessie Ross, and his younger brother, David Ross. Autopsy shows that Bessie Ross died from gunshot wounds to her legs, and David Ross died from gunshot wounds to his chest area. Damn. Casings found at the crime scene showed 3 weapons were used. This case, known in Los Angeles as the Ross murders, captured a lot of media attention, and it was instantly known that the Rolling 60s did it, but no one knew which ones. There was a $25,000 reward posted for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible. A few days later, the crime occurred. I was helping some friends, Grant Lyons, also known as Mad Ronnie, and another friend, both Rolling 60s gang members, change a flat tire on Grant Lyons' car. While changing the tire, 2 LAPD 77th Division detectives pulled up to us, put us in cuffs, and took us to the 77th Division station for questioning. We were separated, and I was placed in an interrogation room where I spent approximately 5 hours being interrogated and interviewed by different sets of detectives. The main detectives interviewing were the lead detectives in the case, Detective McCarley and Detective Richards, and I told them I was at my then girlfriend Larry Dillard's apartment at the time of the unalivings. We went through several more hours of questioning before I was released. I later found out that I was released. Detective McCarley and Detective Richard went to Larry Dillard's apartment and spoke to her father, Larry Dillard, who collaborated my story. Larry Dillard also followed detectives to Larry Dillard's high school, Crenshaw High, and pulled her out of class and interviewed her. She also collaborated my story. The police reports and any paper trail regarding the detectives' interactions with the Dillards came up missing and were non-existent at the time of my trial. That is nasty. Y'all get the likes up in the building for me, all right? We got a couple of people in here. Let's just get the likes to double digits. Salute to everybody. The likes are free. I'm sitting here reading to y'all. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, all right? This is why some of these reads, I'll be doing them as visuals and videos, so I don't have to watch people not liking that I'm reading in front of them. Once I do a video and upload it, whoever likes or does it, just does it. You see what I'm saying? But not when I'm here in the physical form and I'm living and breathing right now and people are dead and you can't drop a like. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me, son. Straight, son. Likes are free. Shit is weird. Anyway, so although I was and had become a gang member from 1984 to 1985, I realized that was not the lifestyle for me. I was not about hurting people or breaking the law. I was raised in a 2-parent middle-class home. I attended a private school and made good grades. I was well-liked and very helpful and active with my elders in my community prior to moving in the Rolling 60 neighborhood in the summer of 1984. Starting about a month before this crime occurred, my life was in transition to move back to the positive role on the right track that it once was on, that it once was on. I was removing myself from the gang life and trying to get myself back into the life of a typical teenager. I knew the lifestyle I was living was wrong, and I wanted to become a productive and positive young man in my community that I once was. At the time, I had moved into an apartment with my older sister, and I enrolled into Crenshaw High, and I tried out and made the Crenshaw High varsity football team. I found out that I was a person of interest in this case my senior year of high school. I was summoned to the dean's office randomly one day, and I was told that I could no longer attend Crenshaw High because I was 18 years old. They advised me that I could go to a neighboring high school, just could not attend theirs. I left the office hurt and upset and went straight to my football coaches. And he said, And he said that 2 detectives had come to school earlier that morning and spoke to them about my involvement in the case. This is when I learned that I was a possible suspect in the double murder. A few days later, a warrant was issued for my arrest. Come on, let me zoom in. Right? Let me zoom back. Okay, a warrant was issued for my arrest. My apartment was raided, and I was taken into custody the same day I was arrested. They issued a warrant for another Rolling 60s gang member, Grant Lyons, who I was originally picked up and questioned with. The following week, we were sent to Los Angeles Criminal Court building, where they were given a DA reject and released at the court building. I learned they were attempting to charge me with this double homicide because they had supposed eyewitness who was alleging that I was the person exiting the Ross home and holding the gun, and Grant Lyons was the second person. It was still rejected by the DA several months later. A warrant was reissued for my arrest, and my apartment was raided a second time. Apparently, they had reissued the warrant because they now had a second witness who made a statement. He was a fellow Rolling 60s member, George Williams, also known as Nutty, also known as Luce Cannon's pops. Allegedly, I made a statement to him regarding the gun that was used. He also alleged that Rodney Glaze, also known as Peedie Wacc, made a statement about being involved in the murders as well. George Williams originally told detectives that we made statements to him. Then he changed his original story from the preliminary hearing. He stated he feared for his life and that some 60s members kidnapped him and threatened his life if he testified against us. So he decided he was not going to and said he never told detectives we made statements to him. George Williams' kidnapping story was proven in court to be fabricated and to be untrue. George Williams and his girlfriend received money in exchange for testimony, which was not disclosed to myself during the trial. Once he decided not to, he was harassed by the district attorney and was told that he would be brought in on the case if he didn't testify. George Williams went from being a witness for the district attorney who received benefits and housing from them in exchange for his testimony to then being an uncooperative witness when he decided he didn't want to testify. 25 years later, I have obtained proof that he was paid an affidavit from George Williams recanting his statements as well. See what I mean? This is crazy. Everybody drop a like. Salute to everybody that's dropped a like. Let's get the likes to 30. Now I love y'all on Bloods and Crips. But we dealing with the Crips right now. So this is on Crips. Yo, Rodney Glaze, a.k.a. Peedie Wacc, and I were charged with this double unaliving, and Grant Lyons was never rearrested. Rodney Glaze was also being charged with a separate case for another gang-related attempted homo. The same gun that was used in Rodney's separate attempted murder case was also the guns used in Jesus Christ. So look, Rodney already had these straps used in this other case, and now he got the straps used in this case. So how the hell y'all really putting this shit on Eric? This shit look kind of crazy. I mean, if we listening to Eric and he's telling his story, it should sound kind of crazy. It's crazy. So he says, look, I did not know if Rodney Glaze had been involved in the Ross unalivings, but because of the pending attempted murder case Rodney Glaze was involved in and the evidence they had with the same gun being used in the Ross murders then as the other unaliving case, I chose to sever my ties and case with Rodney Glaze and went to trial on my own at the same time. He's like, yo, they got a weapon. They tying that weapon to the other unalivings. So like, yo, bro, I'll go to trial with this nigga. They slaying us. So fuck that. Let me just go by myself. But he went 7 years later by himself and got 22 years. All right, you got a life. He says, I chose to sever my case at the time. Boom. Only two prosecutorial witnesses being the only evidence against me. I chose to do this knowing I had no involvement whatsoever. And I knew that in no way I could be found guilty because he did not commit these unalivings, nor did I have any knowledge they were going to take place. The prosecutor's supposed eyewitness, Maurice Cornett, it's crazy. Who the hell is this guy? Testified that he was at a payphone at around 10 p.m. that night, and he said he heard gunshots and ducked in the phone booth for cover. The lighting was not good as there was no porch light on and the street lights were dim. Maurice Cornett alleged that I was the first person to come running out of the home and ran into the opposite direction down an alley along with two other males wearing black beanies, black pants, and a black shirt. Another eyewitness, who my defense called by name Robert Nickerson, testified that he saw an individual exiting the home wearing a beige jacket with a gun and running down that alley. Maurice Cornett, the prosecutor's eyewitness, also had pending R cases against him at the time for several USC RAPESs and burglaries, and he was not going to testify against me, but the DA negotiated a deal with Maurice that he would get 16 years youth authority custody opposed to the 66-year prison term for the R's, and also would have the same judge in my case preside over his case in exchange for his testimony. Maurice accepted this deal. And I have correspondence between my fiance and Maurice where he admits that he was bribed but demanded money from my fiance if we wanted specific information. Now, the final key prosecutor's witness in this case against me was Vincent Stone. Now, Vincent Stone was my best friend. We stayed in the same apartment complex during that time. The night of the unalivings happened, our whole apartment building was surrounded with police who were interviewing and investigating all residents. That is where Vincent Stone was first interviewed and gave a statement which he was subpoenaed to court to testify about. He stated that there had been an alleged meeting that took place at our apartment complex with members of the Rolling 60s, and they gave them a list of members who were present. After he testified in court to this, Vincent Stone was released. While putting up my defense, the DA David Milton brought Vincent Stone back to the witness stand on a rebuttal with a new testimony. With this new testimony, the DA played a tape interview that the DA and lead detectives had conducted a few days prior to him taking the witness stand for the second time. On the tape, the DA asked Vincent to take a lie detector test. Vincent, without hesitation, agreed. The DA asked Vincent if I had made a statement to him regarding my involvement with the unalivings, and Vincent replied no. David Milton is then heard on the tape saying the polygraph machine was going crazy, insinuating that he was lying and that he would be held on perjury charges for being dishonest. Vincent became scared as he was 16 years old and no gang affiliation, and then the DA told the DA that I made a comment to him that we went to the Ross's home and did what we had to do. Vincent Stone interrupted the court after this taped interview was played and said he needed to say something. The judge dismissed the jury and then allowed Vincent to talk. Vincent begins to confess. He begins confessing to the judge that he was scared and intimidated and was made to feel like he was not going home, and they would bring charges on him if he didn't tell the DA and the detectives what they wanted to hear. He advised him he made it up, and that was said in the interview was untrue. He stated that the DA David Milton and Detective Richards and McCarley came to his home for a second time a few days ago. He said he told the men that he thought he was done since he had already given a statement in court. With him being young, illiterate, scared, and not knowing his rights, the prosecutor and detectives got him to go down to the DA's office again to answer some more questions and to take a polygraph test. Vincent said that DA Milton told him, DA D.A. Milton told him he failed the polygraph test, which we don't know to be true. Nigga probably lying to him. Yo, this DA was nasty work. See, this is why we got to go into the classic stuff, not just following. I don't follow the trends of what people make videos about. I could do videos on that stuff. I will. But this right here is something that you ain't seen. You ain't read this. And I'm going to go into real shit. I'm going to bring Eddie Boy ass on his channel, and he going to tell me what the hell happened too, bro. I ain't got time, bro. We going to talk about what the hell happened. Okay, cool. I done showed you that Luce Cannon Pops was a dead serious snitch. I showed you that. I showed the paper, okay? The paper that showed he receiving payments, bro. Payments, 2,000 all time. All right, cool. So we gonna get into that when I really start showing y'all shit again. All right, cool. Let's get back to this. Salute to everybody in the building. But it's a lot to read, but I gotta read all of this, bro, so that we can understand what the hell happened. You know what I'm saying? So boom, so he took the polygraph test again and he told him he failed, but he didn't show him any proof that he failed it. Exactly what I was saying. The test, but he continued to tell him that he failed it and that they would file charges against him for lying and that they were not leaving until Vincent told them the truth, knowing Vincent already told them the truth and that he was never going to get home. So he started telling them whatever they wanted to hear so that he could leave. The judge and the DA blame his change of heart on him being intimidated because he was now in front of me and my family. Okay, so now they're saying that he's intimidated because he's talking about him, Eric, in front of him in the court. But he's saying like, nah, he was intimidated by these people. That's why he's moving like that. He said the judge dismissed what he said, had the jury come back and proceeded with the trial. So, you know what I mean? So they like, nah, man. So he said all of this in front of the jury. They kicked the jury out. Let him talk. He tells them all this stuff. He felt intimidated, all these things. They look at him and tell him, nah, man, we feel you getting intimidated because you right to tell in front of this guy. And he right here looking at you. His family's here. So you probably scared and frazzled. But now he like, yo. So the judge say, nah, bring the jury back in. We proceeding with the trial. The jury never heard any of this. Was ever made aware of what Vincent had told the judge. So the jury never even heard this. This is you would think this is key evidence to hear. After everything was presented by the prosecutor and my defense, the jury came back with what shocked me. My attorney and everyone in the courtroom, a guilty verdict. Vincent has recently reached out to me stating that he will do anything to do right and to right his wrong. He has stated that he had an affidavit written up and notarized and that he was coerced and intimidated and threatened, and he lied to assist the DA in their prosecution, and I also have that. What I did on the night of September 11th, this is what he said he did. On the night of September 11th, 1985, I did my normal routines. I came home from football practice. I showered and went downstairs from my apartment to my then girlfriend Larry Dillard's apartment. The entire Dillard family was home. The father testified that he was there. They collaborated the story. The girl collaborated the story. They went and pulled the girl out of school. The girl told him this. Everybody said the boy was at their crib, bro. He was over at her crib. And besides that, he was, what he said, with Grant Lyons fixing a tire on Grant Lyons' car. We heard that too. Cool. Larry's father, Larry, this is crazy. Her name is Larry like this, and his name is Larry like that. That's classic. Classic old school shit. Shout out to that, man. Shout out to that. Larry and Larry. Just like George Foreman's kids. All his kids' name is George, Georgetta, and Georgie. It's great. Larry's father, Larry, and her mother, Virginia, and her sister, Nina, and her brother, John. Virginia had made salmon patties. Come on, bro. That nigga knows down to the salmon patties. And invited me to stay for dinner. After we ate, Larry washed the dishes, and then her and I lounged on the couch talking, kissing, and watching TV. At about 11 p.m., I left, and I went to the apartment courtyard where a friend of mine, Lil C-Dog, came over and told me that some fellow Rolling 60s member had gone over to Joker's Tommy Ross's house and clipped his family. The others, as well as myself, were in disbelief. I went into my apartment and told my sister. My sister and I got into the car and drove by 51st and Normandy and saw the street was taped off. As my sister and I drove home, we ran out of gas on 48th Street, close to Arlington Avenue, and we walked to our cousin's house who lived in that area on Vernon, back on Fig, you know that, on Vernon and Gramercy Place. and they helped us to get gas, and we went home. They got mad things that's like corroborating his story right here. Like, what the hell, bro? He done broke down gas. He done went here. He done went there. Back in the days, we didn't have cameras everywhere, though. Right now, we have cameras everywhere. They would have been able to prove that he did this. You know what I'm saying? So, like, think about it right now. He'd like, what? I walked there. I went there. I went there. They were like, yep, look, that's him right there. Boop. Case open and shut. It's crazy. Back in these days, there wasn't no cameras, bro. During my trial, I never took the stand and testified through the advisory of my attorney, which is something I've always regretted. I'm telling you, you need to sometimes speak for yourself. I was never at the scene of the crime, nor did I have any knowledge it was going to happen. My attorney, who was a public defender, Jesus Christ, public defenders, bro. And public defenders work with the prosecution and all of that. They be going to lunch together. You got to know that. That's why it's good to pay for a lawyer. I'm telling you, they would listen. They be like, yo, look, you get him to cop a plea on this one. On the next case, what you got, I'm going to get them to work for you. They be on things like that. Don't think that because they defending you, they don't be having friends, bro. They just want you to plead guilty. That's it. They just want open and shut stuff, man. That's it. They get another case on their back that they got to plead. Bop, bop, bop. That's it, bro. That's it. So look. Penelope Watson sought to put up a defense refuting the accusations the prosecutor's witnesses made, but her efforts were not effective. She would show up late to court at times with a smell of alcohol on her breath, Jesus Christ. And with me being young and knowing she was my only hope, I believed in her and her professionalism as well as the justice system. I knew the courts couldn't possibly prove an innocent man guilty of a crime he didn't commit, especially not of this magnitude. I left everything in my public defender's hand in the justice system's hands, and that all I could do as I nor my family had the money to pay for an attorney. Although this crime had 3 assailants, I'm the only one doing time for this horrific crime and received life without the possibility of parole. Also, the alleged gun that was placed on me the night of the murders was not used on either victim, nor was the gun ever found or linked to me. Rodney Glaze, who had the enjoined case involving the gun that he used in the attempted murder that was also used on one of the victims of the Ross unaliving, served 22 years and was released from prison only to catch another gun case and hit with the 3rd strikes and receive the 25 to life sentence. That's what happened to Peedie. Peedie came back home, got caught with the straps, 3 strikes, and they rocked him 25 to life. Cool. All right. So when I go into this right here, you'll see.
This last trip I spent
Peedie
15
Wacc.
years. But I say since like 79, I've been on the streets a total about 34, 35 months.
Does that leave you bitter or want to change?
Shit, everybody changed. You know what I'm saying? Everybody changed. Only an idiot gonna stay the same.
So what would you say to a youngster that's out here running wild with no guidance?
I be talking to youngsters nowadays, going around different little probation schools and high schools, and just kind of like talking to them, giving them some realism about what's going on with this banging. And I mean, you can't really tell nobody nothing. Man, I can do is make suggestions to them. I'll tell them one thing for sure, 2 things for certain. Everything you do on this planet, you gotta pay for that shit. Believe that. God will make you pay for whatever you do out here on this planet.
In a perfect world, man, what would you like to see, man, happen in Los Angeles as far as gangs are?
Keita Rock. Let's hear what Keita got to say, man. Keita Rock, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, Keita, shit, man, he ended up getting rocked, too. I think Keita got like a 16-piece, right? It's crazy. Keita Rock. I heard a lot about this brother here, man.
Man, look. Man.
You don't know, and this is a documentary, you know what I mean? You could go check that out, Seawalk, man. Some real crippin' in there, real old school G's like Keita up in there, you know what I mean? Peedie up in there. A few other Jesus in there too, man. They talk. You got Dub C in there, Ice-T in this. They all talking about the Crip walking and everything, how people started to make it more like a dance and where it came from real people that was really walking and getting into that walk. You know what I mean? So they just show the history of it and show how Dub C and how he did it, especially when he jumps side to side with his knees together, how he's put his other spin on it, and how people look at, you know what I mean, the C-Walk today as in comparison to before. You know what I mean? So salute to that. You know what I mean? I will be getting back to this Peedie Wacc and finishing up this Peedie Wacc as well. But let's get back to this reading and just see if we can finish this up. So 3 assailants he was doing time life without parole. An alleged gun that was linked to me, Godney Glaze, right? He's serving 22 years. He received a life, right? That's where we at, right? He received life. Hold up, come on. Okay, cool. I have served 25 years thus far out of the life sentence, and I am requesting, begging, and pleading for your assistance to ensure that no more of my life is wasted and consumed within this dark place. There was 0 physical evidence in my case. It was all circumstantial. 2 out of the 3 witnesses have reached out to me and advised they lied and would like to recant their statements, as they now know I am here for something I did not do. It's crazy. It is my plea, my hope, my dream, my aspiration that God and justice will prevail and I will be delivered from these prison walls that I have been wrongfully confided to for all these years. I'm at your mercy. I'm at your mercy that your organization will take interest in my case and assist in helping me reach freedom, and that I will marry my fiance and live a quite positive, productive life and have the opportunity to start a family and become a father that I so desperately long to be. He was 18 when he got him, bro. He ain't got a chance to have a kid, bro. It's nasty work with that one. Word, bro. Free that brother, man. I have included the contact information for these witnesses. Ooh, he got the contact information for all these people, too. It's crazy. I would love to see if I could talk to one of these people, man. Straight up, son. Word, man. I'm see if I find one of these niggas, Maurice Cornet. One of these niggas say, yo, what happened, Maurice, man? Tell the truth, man. Tell us right now. Tell you two what happened, bro. You lied on Eric Dix for the DA and all them? Yeah? What happened? Ask these niggas some real questions, bro, because it seemed like he flipped his story back, bro. But this guy's still in jail. Nasty. Have included a signed affidavit from the hearsay witness Vincent Stone, and who reached out to me and advised he wanted to recant his statement. And I also have included a letter written to Maurice Cornet, the supposed eyewitness that my fiance wrote him, and his letter responding, advising he has a lot to say and that he wanted to make it right, but he was asking for some money to make it right. It's crazy. But he was asking for us to put money on his books in return. That's what I'm saying. Should have put some bitch ass bread on his books and just get the story from this nigga. Should have put a couple dollars on his bitch ass nigga books, bro. Straight. Just get the story from him. Straight, man. Because you over here ratting on niggas that he was supposedly catching some R's. He was essaying things. He had about 16 cases of R's. You know what I mean? They was about to give him 66 years. They're like, yo, come and sing on this case right here, and we going to free you up. Nasty work. Nasty work. Anyway, my case is prime example of being racial and politically motivated case. Politically motivated in a case that DA Milton was trying to get his weight up, and he became like a judge or something like that. You know what I mean? Motivated case, and that was and should have been maintained being rejected by the DA's office, but was picked up by an eager and overzealous prosecutor. Because at first they dropped it. They wasn't even chasing him down. But then they picked it back up. I am at your mercy as I have exhausted every other avenue. I have been a layman to law, and I have not had the legal funding to afford legal representation. My fight for freedom has only been as far as the first 2 levels of state appeals courts. I have not had the opportunity to present my case to the federal courts. I have exhausted all avenues available to me within my reach. My last hope at freedom is through the habeas corpus actual innocence plea, as I have new evidence from the witnesses recanting their statements. Please take the time to review my case, as I know your help. I will have a shot at freedom and getting my life back, and having the opportunity to start a family, and can put into helping correct this injustice. And then it goes into innocent and eternally grateful for your time, Eric Todd Dix. See the numbers, D-70116, P.O. Box 5005, Calipatria, California 92233. Calipatria prison, where he was at the time. I think he's still there, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's still there. But because I was looking up his case, but he had something that was going on, like a suit. Like I think he was working, I think he slipped and fell, bang. So I was looking like some appeal case, like he had like a lawsuit, like he was trying to go through. So I was just, you know what I mean, just trying to find out different things about the brother. You know what I'm saying? Straight. We just trying to find out things. I heard Eddie Boy talking. We heard it talking. But let's get to it. Let me put it on the board. Now that I got it on the board, now I could go into the other part. Now I could bring up the actual paperwork and start showing you shit. You know what I'm saying? Now I can start showing you. We're gonna go into a little bit more of this Peedie Wacc though, but look. You know what I'm saying? Let me press play on this so you can see what I'm talking about. Let me press play on this thing, the pictures, okay? The brother, Todd, him, Eric, Todd, George, Luce Cannon, Pops. Now here we come with the paperworks now. You know what I'm saying? This is when we get into the paperworks and we see the things that niggas are snitching. Okay? George Williams, he said, we have Mr. George Williams. On this paper down there, it says, we have Mr. George Williams giving us information that Eric Dix admitted that he had the rifle. Okay? See what I'm saying? Admitted that he had the rifle. So we got Luce Cannon Pops singing, and they said he sang for some money and some compensations and all of that. This paper right here that you just saw, that's showing that he was the paid informant. He was getting bread. It shows that he was getting payments, receiving payments, bro. You see it. You see it. So it's not like we're going to have to guess this no more. No. George Williams was a rat. Straight. And that was?
Oh, no, you can't be serious. That is some bullshit right there.
Straight. So let's get into some of this. Let's finish up with this Peedie Wacc. I will be going into this paperwork read. This is a case from 1986, bro. So once I show you these papers, I start reading these papers to you. It's real deal, son. Understand that I'm doing my history on this channel. Understand that I don't just sit here and fluff to you all day. Understand that I try to go and get the information for you and bring you the information. That's all I try to do. And I don't try to make a 5-minute video, 2-minute, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 videos to get views. No, you see I did this all on one video, one time, whether people see it or not. Don't care. It's here. As long as it's here, that's all that matters.
The 60s put up to Joker's home and busted inside his house. Only
This is the
people were
case.
there were his mom and his little brother. Even though Joker wasn't there, the rolling 60s took the life of his mother and his little brother. Months later, 2 people were picked up for the shooting of Joker's family. It was a man named Eric, and it was Peedie Wacc. While in jail, multiple other charges would come up on Peedie Wacc, and that included other shootings on the A-Tray gangsters. Even if he didn't do it, police tried to pin a lot of shooting on him because he was a known gang member. Eric and Peedie Wacc decided to separate their cases, with Peedie Wacc facing other shooting charges and an attempted on Little Hard from A-Tray gangster. Eric was railroaded in his case. He received life. He is currently pleading his innocence and trying to get out. He's been in prison since 1987 and is currently married at the moment. Peedie Wacc took a plea charge on that case. Peedie Wacc trial ended in a hung jury, but he took a plea stating he knew how messed up the system was and he didn't want to get done how Eric was. He received 15 years for this crime. Joker from A-Tray Gangster was sentenced to life for taking the life of Mumbles. In prison, he started going by the name Tommy Shakur and became a model prisoner and changed his life around. He currently is doing a podcast at the moment about his trials and tribulations and what he's doing in life. It is said that Joker will be paroling soon. Peedie Wacc ended up being released in the early 2000s. He could be seen as CJ Mack, rapper from Rolling 60 documentary called Seawall, It's a Way of Living. Peedie Wacc talks about all his time he did in prison and how he was making a change in his life and how prison changed him. Peedie Wacc even talked about how he was doing programs to keep young dudes off the streets and giving them his experience. Peedie Wacc would end up going back to prison shortly after on a strap charge. With Peedie Wacc being a 2-striker, this was his 3rd strike, and he got life over a strap. Peedie Wacc has been in prison since 2005. Peedie Wacc had a parole hearing in 2021, but was denied parole. His next parole hearing is 2026. Peedie Wacc is now around 57 years old and is now married. He's in prison, but he's staying positive and hoping he will be released soon. Peedie Wacc is one of the most infamous Rolling 60s, and this was his story. This will conclude this episode.
Loose Pops, y'all. You see the nigga on the thing? George. Nigga snitched on Peedie Wacc, and the nigga snitched on Eric Dick. And look at Luce Cannon in the corner right there watching him. Nasty work, bro. Nasty work. Salute to everybody in the building. You already know the vibes, man. We got through that read. Next thing, I just put this on the board today because when I start going through the case, I'm going to read this whole case. I'm going to read the whole paperwork to you. This is what I do here, man. I don't fluff to you, man. I read the case, nigga, and this is how we going to get to it. I don't care. Straight. Shout out to everybody that's here rocking with us. Salute, Lise. I appreciate you, queen. You already know. Magnificent Tyler. I ain't see you in a minute, girl. I was about to come run down on YouTube Street for you. You're lucky. You're lucky with your pretty ass. Anyway, Active Chuck's in here. It's popping with your brother. Yeah, man, it's going down, man. It's going down, but we got to break these things down. You know what I mean? Because I just want to know what the hell happened with Luce Cannon Pops, bro. You know what I'm saying? They were saying like he was trying to finger this on. He was trying to point this to Big U, you know? You heard, Chucks? They were saying he was trying to actually, you know what I mean, put it on some other people. But then I guess, I don't know. I don't know if the kidnapping was true or was it real, because they came to say it was not real, but was it real or was it not? We don't know if the kidnap was not. I'm hearing that nigga really did get ran down on, and they really grabbed his ass up, Luce Cannon Pops, and did tell his ass, yo, you see them two little peasy head twins you got in there? Jermaine and Tremaine? Oh yeah, when we spin back, that shit gonna be on Neighborhood Crip, nigga. When we come back, allegedly, that's what I heard. They said, nigga, this shit gonna be on Neighborhood Crip. And you don't want that, nigga. So he's and flipping the story, supposedly. He's flipped it for some money, for some housing, and all of that, and all of that. Nasty work. What I will say, nasty work. Nasty. Salute to everybody that's in the building with us, though. Salute to everybody. I want everybody dropping a like. Everybody share the video if you could. You already know the vibes. I appreciate that. Yeah, man. Appreciate that. It's crazy, though, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy, bro. Nasty work, bro. Nasty work. We're going to take an intermission, though, because we got some more PD Cook. I got this paperwork to read, man. I got to read this paperwork, man. I'm going to have to. Let's take a little listen to some music, man. We're going to take an intermission, man. I've been reading this whole time. I drink some water. NYLA. You already know the vibe. This is NYLA off my new project. My new project is fire. I got Tory Lanez on my new album. Mano on my new album. Dave East on my album. Mad Niggas is on my new project, son. I think it's the game. I'm really that nigga. Trust me, and you will find out shortly. My mother's mother. That's my grandmother if you're slow. And do you think I lie on my grandmother? No, I won't. Chris Brown on the remix. Oh, nigga said Chris Brown? Oh, shit, nigga. Chris Breezy on the remix, nigga. On Bloods. On Bloods. On Bloods.
I just been sitting in the city. Shout out to Freddie. My bitch ass so fat. I'm about to top out already. In Wale. In Wale. I'm the best of my city. It ain't Wale. I've been to Brooklyn and back. Still rocking my chain. I feel like Gilly and Philly. I feel like Pac in LA. My bitch is eating in so many cars. I pop in the day. I make her wait for the tape. But I could drop it today. In Wale. In Wale. My bitch got a love for ballin' like Sinale. In Wale. I should fly today. So I fly away. And if I die today, I hope I'm in Wale. Back in NYC, I just live a lead. I just booked a flight. NYLA. Trapping all the way. Stacking by my pesos. Shooters stay with me. Killers on the payroll. Yo, bitch, fuck with me. She do what I say so. Fresh from ATL. Just to stand my yeah.